Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. The Women of Courage show is being broadcast by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries to help you problem solve, to help you dream again, to help you believe that anything is possible. We want you to believe that you do not have to marry the first man you meet just to get someone to take care of you. You do not have to live a life of drudgery. You can educate yourself. All you have to do is learn to read competently. We want you to take a chance on yourself. Stop believing all the soothsayers around you that have never left a state in their lives. People who do not have courage to fly. People who only think of lying, cheating, and stealing. You can live an exciting life. All you have to do is believe that you can make your dreams come true. You do not have to go to bed with someone you despise day in and day out. You have the right to marry someone that you can talk to someone that believes in you and has faith in you as a human being. In other words, you do not have to settle for just anyone. But what you must do is strive toward your goal. You must be goal oriented. You must organize yourself. You must be clear about what you want in life and why you want such a life. All of us are made up of dreams. As our dreams unfold in our lives, our spirit soars. Realizing our dreams becomes a problem because oftentimes we are beaten down by our friends and family. We are beaten down at school by people laughing at us because of our shoe size, our ear size, our breast size, the clothes we wear, etc. We are beaten down by people saying nothing will come of our lives. We are beaten down when our mothers and grandmothers constantly say that we're going to be just like our father, an inmate in prison. Many of us are also discouraged when our mothers are inattentive. She is wrapped up in her new boyfriend. But life anew is possible. It is my job to encourage you to go as far as you can dream and as far as your dreams can take you. It is my job to get you to believe in life again. I am sick and tired of people failing at life just because they are around negative speaking and negative acting people. Do not let the failure of other people make you lose confidence in yourself. Yes, you may be surrounded by poverty, but you must look for a way out. The book, If You Believe in God, You Do Not Belong in Prison, will help you. What you must do above all else is learn to read competently. You must read, and read. Anyone who laughs at you for reading, you need to leave that person alone. I do not care if it's your mother. Anyone who discourages you, you are to stop all association. Man is not different than plants. We need encouragement to grow as plants need water to thrive. You are to leave foolish, stupid people alone. Their ignorance will weigh you down or even get you killed. Sit down and think how you can avoid these people, especially if they're in your family. If you are overwhelmed with the tiring feeling that feels as if you're carrying a bag of stone around every morning when you get out of bed and think how you'll have to spend another living life you're not passionate about, the books I suggest are the perfect solution for your unique needs. Not only will we help you realize why these feelings overwhelm you and what you can do to change it, but they will also teach you how to live a life of strength, courage, fearlessness in order to realize all of your dreams. If you are lacking the attitude and psychology, proper resource or vision to make your dreams a reality, combined with dissatisfaction with the execution of your plans, but you remain firmly dedicated to making your ambition a reality and creating the life you deserve, you will certainly derive the most benefit from professional, incredible content within these books. Contents that will assist you in achieving the results that you are after. You are never to give up on yourself. Are you ready to leave your future to chance? Of course not. Take your life in your hand and learn all the necessary tools, mindset, strategies used by the men and women of courage, used in order to live the life of their dream. Change your life with our book starting today. Before we begin, we're going to take a few moments to collect ourselves and to relax before we engage into our discussion. What we need to do is to focus now on bringing positive energy into our lives and into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We have all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our lives will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy. And how we can do this is by changing our outlook, meeting every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism, and once you do this, you will see a change in yourself. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life. Family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons why your life is amazing. You will see the change. You will be changed. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful and think positive.
Let it be known to all, history has not been kind to women. History has greatly downplayed the roles that women played in the building of our great nation. We've been led to believe that the foundations of this great society was solely laid by white men. But nothing could be further from the truth. In every facet of our society, women fought to contribute just as much as men, though women had absolutely no rights in America. White women were not allowed to vote, and black women did not have custody of their bodies. Marriage and motherhood were the greatest achievements a woman could hope for. It was women that stood and championed the struggle for equal rights. At the height of a workplace discrimination, corporations abused women's rights in the workplace. Pregnant women were fired. Short women were denied employment. It was women like the abolitionist sisters Sarah and Angelina Grimke who spoke out against slavery, and Alice Paul and Mousewood Park, who spearheaded the struggle for the emancipation of women in the male-dominated workplace. These women found courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to proceed in spite of the fear. Whatever is morally right for a man to do is morally right for a woman to do. I recognize no rights but human rights. Angelina Grimke Weld. We women took part in the building of this nation, and we had to consistently fight for our survival because oftentimes we were beaten for the asking. The greatest lie ever told in the world is the lie told by man against woman for power and control through religion. The lie was told so well. Man uses some women as tools to lie and betray other women. Malcolm X once said, "When the white massa got sick, Oftentimes, when the house Negro spoke to the massa, he would say, "We sick," identifying with their captor. When only part of the truth is told, it is a lie. The truth is used to deceive. The technique is called lying by omission. Lying by omission is told to uneducated people when one man seeks power and wealth over another. The uneducated or unsophisticated thinker does not know how to find the truth that was omitted. Propagandists persist with omitted truths until their subject cannot tell the truth from fiction and is willing to kill any Jew or nigger he meets. The omitted truth allows people to say, "We are not like them." How long is man going to continue to blame all the ills of the world on women? Because she supposedly let the snake seduce her? Damn any man who says women are without valor. Women have endured century after century of maltreatment, fighting for possession of their minds and bodies, under the heels of men using God to justify their behavior. Women forced into asylum so their inheritance could be stolen, forced to marry at age 11 to cover up repeated acts of rape. Sherry Johnson, Florida. Stop victims from having to marry their rapist. Ban child marriage under age of 18 in all states. Sprayed with acid when we refuse a proposal of marriage, Black and Puerto Rican women endured sterilization and gynecological experimentation and testing. Women are executed for refusing sex with their brothers, executed for abandoning Islam, parents forced to kill their gay children. Thousands of non-consensual porn photos shared by men of the Marine Corps. Women raped and or murdered on the highway by police officers. Women are beaten on their marriage night, taught to comply, finally punched in the face when we ask why. Misery is I, the woman. Life is a battle from the cradle to the grave. There is not a woman on this planet that is not fighting that battle. Women must be watchful. Women must believe. Women must be willing to fight. Women must snoop, pry, and listen. Women must close their mouths and organize their minds. Women can accomplish much of this by reading the series Women of Courage.
I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to
Attention women, have you ever asked yourself why society views you as a lesser being to a man, or why most leadership positions are filled by a man? I urge you to visit touchedbythelight.us and get your copy of this amazing, inspiring new book called Women of Courage Part 1. It's carefully written with a passion for all women. It's the time for all mothers, sisters, and daughters to come together as one. Unite together and understand your life and make a change today. Visit touchedbythelight.us and order this new book, Women of Courage Part 1, and feel the love and dedication it has to offer. Get your copy today. Attention women, have you ever asked yourself why society views you as a lesser being to a man, or why most leadership positions are filled by men? I urge you to visit touchedbythelight.us and get your copy of this amazing, inspiring new book called Women of Courage Part 2. It's carefully written with a passion for all women. It's the time for all mothers, sisters, and daughters to come together as one. Unite together and understand your life and make a change today. Visit touchedbythelight.us and order the book Women of Courage Part 2 and feel the love and dedication it has to offer. Get your copy today. Now is the time to take control of your life. It's time to get the knowledge you need to succeed. Get your copy of this amazing new book called How to Become a Woman of Courage workbook. It's written for women just like you. Take the needed steps to become a free spirit, filled with passion and dedication to lead others who are just like you. Visit touchedbythelight.us today and get our fascinating new book called How to Become a Woman of Courage workbook. Get inspired, get motivated, and feel the love and compassion that only this book can bring you. Get your copy today. Are sex trafficking and literacy important to you? Would you like to help? Well, now you can. We meet twice a month on Saturday. I invite each and every one of you to join me at a local restaurant throughout the city to discuss the importance of sex trafficking and literacy in our community. We need your help now. If you would like a chance to give back to your community, I urge you to send an email to murderedvoices@gmail.com to get dates, times, and locations of each meeting. Again, email us at murderedvoices@gmail.com. Stand up and help us fight the good fight together.
At what point did you think this was going to be easy? At what point did you think this was going to be handed to you? This is life. Every moment, every second, as precious as the next. I don't care if you've lost. I don't care if you failed. I don't care if you've hit bottom. As long as that hunger still lies inside, as long as that light still flickers, you fight. We fight for the people that believe in us. We fight for the moments, we fight for the seconds. We fight for the pride, we fight for the dreams. We fight. We always fight.
If you have reached a point where you are stuck, having a sense of tiredness, coming from seeing all of your dreams and visions of success get obscured with the lack of experience, guidance, and knowledge necessary for success, learning from women of courage may be the most important thing you've read this year. Living a passionate life in a hectic and busy 21st century is getting increasingly harder. Women of Courage series will provide you with all the inspiration, courage, and role model you need to get inspired and take your life in your hands and start living as bravely, as passionate as you deserve. Most aspiring individuals end up missing a huge amount of opportunities due to the lack of training and tools that would allow you to overcome psychological barriers, limiting beliefs, fears, and lack of creativity that you could potentially face during your journey as a successful woman. This lack of proper guidance manifests itself in lowered performance and productivity and failure to unleash your full potential and show the world what you can truly do. If you lack the attitude and psychology, proper resources, or vision to make your dreams a reality, combined with dissatisfaction with the execution of your plans, but you remain firmly dedicated to making your ambitions a reality, you will certainly derive the most benefit from the incredible Woman of Courage series. If you are serious about taking your life to a whole new level and enjoying the privileges of creativity, fearlessness, and success that all the brave women who have changed the world are equipped with, you are in the right place. Don't leave your future to chance. Get a new sense of strength, inspiration, and courage with Women of Courage series. You'll be so glad you did, guaranteed. Achieve what you're after. We thank you for watching this brief synopsis of women trying to become productive members of society by joining the workforce will inspire you to go further with your life. Remember, women and children make up the largest part of the most vulnerable people in society. Even with industrialization, globalization, and the new knowledge economy, women's position in society leaves much to be desired. The vast majority of women are still uneducated. Millions and millions of children are still living in poverty. Society has ensnared women into playing second fiddle. Society has taught women to settle for whatever life has to offer. Society says, stop dreaming, be practical. Happiness is an illusion, but it doesn't have to be that way. One can realize their dreams and be happy. Misty Danielle Copeland did not accept a letter telling her at age 13 she could never be a ballerina. In 2015, Miss Copeland became the first African-American woman to be promoted to principal ballerina in ABT's 75-year history. You can change the scenarios with you playing the starring role. Now is time for a change. Read Women of Courage and get inspired. The series Women of Courage seeks to tell the stories of strong women who have persevered, even when those threatened by a woman's strength have stood in the way. The series is for all women, to help more of us stand up and say, it's about time. Ask yourself this question: what can't women do? If you falter in answering the question, you need to read the series Women of Courage. Get your copy today at https://touchedbythelight.us.
Why you should read Women of Courage. The book will inspire you to begin your life again. Read how females took courage to live exemplary lives, even though most were from humble backgrounds. The books teach the importance of courage in achieving the great things of life. The books motivate you to look beyond those things you think you couldn't do. The books give you the insight into your innate abilities that your fears have suppressed. There is no greater feeling than creating a new you.
You need to live life with a purpose. You need to spend the time needed to explore, to find your true passion. There are so many unhappy people in this world not willing to make a change. There are so many unhappy people not focusing on the big picture. 1 out of 3 people are happy with their lives. Think about that for a second. 70% of the people you see every day are not happy. And the majority of that has to do with purpose. People are programmed, wired to be okay with the minimum. People stay in jobs they're not passionate about. They date people who don't support them, hang out with people who don't help them grow. This can't be you. You need to spend the time to discover what your true calling is. What are you passionate about? What do you see yourself doing to make your mark? Are you in a job right now that you're truly happy with? Do you wake up every morning excited to start your day? If not, that's okay. You know now this isn't fulfilling you. But what are you gonna do about it? Are you willing to make a change to help reach your goals? If you are, it needs to start now. Because this won't happen overnight, finding your true calling. But once you do, you will see how everything changes. You will begin to see the quality of your life increase. All those problems you had, they slowly fade. You begin to see how powerful life is with a purpose. What we need to focus on now is bringing positive energy into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We've all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our life will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy. And how we do this is by changing our outlook, leading every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism. And once you do this, you will see the change. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life. Family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons of why your life is amazing. And once you do this, you will see the change. You will be the change. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful. And think positive.
Change can be a powerful thing. It can effectively turn your life around and improve your outlook on life. The book Women of Courage was written to get women to change and to embrace a new outlook on life. The book tells us that women and children constitute the largest part of the most vulnerable in our society and is well beyond doubt. Even with the spate of civilization, women's position in society still leaves much to be desired. It is the endless and numerous crimes against womanhood all over the world, or the preposterous society's perception of the woman as a substance, one that has nothing to offer than her body and household responsibilities. That fact is, we have been enthralled for too long, and our silence has become totally unreasonable. As a woman, have you ever asked yourself why society views you as a lesser being than a man? Have you ever wondered why only a few women are in history books, even though the contrary is the case? Have you ever been bothered about why women are left out of various leadership positions, even with their extensive contributions? Well, the answer is a no-brainer. Women are very powerful beings. The strength we exude in carrying out our daily lives, even with the way society frowns at us, is seen as a threat to the domineering nature of men in society. And as such, discriminating, segregating, and subjugating us in every facet of the society is seen as a key to limiting our power. This is the reality we have to live with. But it is time this changes, don't you think? Will you prefer to continue to remain silent and continue to strive through this great inhumanity, or fight for the elevation of your rights and that of the oncoming female generation, which includes your daughters and nieces? The books Women of Courage were written as a means of profiting details, answer to the questions above, and much more. In these books, you will read about how females of different ages, status, and color took courage to live exemplary lives, even though most of them were from humble backgrounds. The most of the books talk about the life that travailed 700 women who displayed courage in actualizing not only their dreams and ensuring that women are recognized in America. You will read of how Rosa Parks and other women stood up and fought for the liberation of black women. You will also learn about how Miss Paul, Lucy Burns, and several other women ensured the passage of the famous 19th Amendment. But I want you to remember that the women in New Zealand had the right to vote long before the women in America. Ask yourself why. You will also read about how different women had to go through trauma and agony to fight for justice. The book Women of Courage aims to inspire every woman, regardless of age, color, or status, of the need to rise and to fight for our rights. Most importantly, the book seeks to expand our understanding of the violence against women and children in America and all over the world, as well as how to put an end to it once and for all. By reading these 500-page books, you will be correcting the notion that women are poor readers. And like Rufus Coates, 1799 to 1859, said, "Happy is he who has laid up his youth and held fast in all fortune a genuine and a passionate love of reading." Reading is the key to change. Reading is the key to improvement. Reading is the key to life. You must read, you must read, you must read. Then you can change and improve the status of your life. I am going to again repeat the risk factors involved in the abduction or procurement of sex trafficking victims. Understand, these factors are important for parents to understand and to share with their children. Regardless of how vulgar it sounds, sex traffickers are always looking for children, and we must stand in the gap to keep them from becoming successful. Hello, everyone. We will continue in our discussion of sex trafficking, but I have changed the talk around. I prepared a report to read to you today. It was all organized as an essay, I supposed to be, but I'm not going to follow this pattern because I think the most important information of the entire report is the information needed by parents to protect their children from traffickers. I'm going to report this section of the report several times to make certain that parents understand the dangers to their children. You are not immune from sex trafficking just because you have a quote unquote good job and you go to church on Sunday. You must pay attention to whom is around your children. You must pay attention to the parents of your child's friends. They must be of good character. And please understand that traffickers can be found within your family. They can be aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews. That is correct. One of your relatives can place your child into sex slavery and think nothing about it. Your relative will stare you in the face, sympathizing with you at the loss of your child. So this section is for parents. Pay attention to your child and trust no one. Pay attention to how your neighbors and friends and relatives react around your child. Remember, in order to be effective, the trafficker must get in proximity of your child to recruit. Remember, the motive behind sex trafficking is money. Anyone who is in need or desperate for money can look at sex trafficking as a solution to their problem. And who will be the first target? The children around them. Remember, the front line is the parent. You must educate yourself. Learn the signs of sex trafficking, learn the risk factors, and prepare your child for telling you when they do not feel right around a person. You must tell your child about some of the people who are not necessarily nice. Also, you need to help your child build self-esteem. Many people continue to think of human trafficking as a third world problem. That is not so. According to a 2016 report, there were more than 7,000 sex trafficking cases reported in the United States. More than 2,100 of those cases involve U.S. citizens. There is a belief that only illegal immigrants are at risk for becoming victims of sex trafficking, but this is not correct. According to Elisa Enrile, a clinical associate professor in the USC School of Social Work, explained that anyone can become a victim of human trafficking. The majority of the victims are women, approximately 70%. Victims of sex trafficking can be women, children, adolescents, and to a lesser extent, men and transgender people. There are many factors that can put a person at risk. The risk factors are directly related to the modus operandi of the trafficker. There are two main modus operandi for sex trafficking: abduction and brainwashing. The latter is most common. Anyone can be the victim of kidnapping, since it is common for attackers to use drugs and physical force to break the will of their targets. Traffickers seek out potential victims who are traveling alone or separated from their group. Due to the vulnerable nature of children, they also seek children because children are easily intimidated. This is why we believe that sex traffickers should be subject to the death penalty. The brainwashing technique is more convenient for traffickers because they make the victim believe that it is their own decision that leads them to participate in this illegal activity. So later they will not feel able to denounce or oppose their captor. Next is extremely important. For a person to be at risk for brainwashing, it is necessary that at least one of the following characteristics be met. Again, for a person to be at risk for brainwashing, it is necessary for at least one of the following characteristics to be present. The person have low self-esteem, have been physically or sexually abused, struggle with drugs or alcohol, having family environmental issues, low social economic status, in other words, living in poverty, or have little social or legal protection. I repeat, the person have low self-esteem, or has been physically or sexually abused, or struggle with drugs and alcohol, or have family issues, or lives in poverty, or has little or no legal protection. You must pay attention to these risk factors as they relate to your child. Do not fool yourself and say my child has high self-esteem. Check it out and make certain. Now for a closer discussion. Have low self-esteem. People with low self-esteem do not feel valuable or worthy to receive love and constantly seek the approval of others, including strangers, and they do not feel able to reject other people without feeling bad about it. Traffickers are masters at manipulating and exploiting at-risk youth. These traffickers groom their victims, gaining their trust and loyalty by preying upon their vulnerabilities and showering them with praise and gifts. Tell your daughters that if they are in the presence of a man who is always praising them and giving them gifts, they need to stop and take a closer look at this male. Talk to your children about grooming. Discuss self-esteem with your child. Ask your child how they feel about neighbors, family, and friends. What you want is for your child to alert you to any changes in behavior of these people. Take nothing for granted and stop trying to tell your children what to think. What you need to do is help them learn how to think. Remember, a child is not a miniature you. They are their own person and they are entitled to their own thoughts. Victims that have physical or sexual abuse or after an emotional or violent trauma. Any person, especially a child or a teen, is in an unstable psychological status that can be exploited by traffickers. Uncles are good for sexually abusing nieces and nephews. Person who struggles with drugs and or alcohol. Any person or teenager dependent on drugs or alcohol is physically and psychologically unstable and therefore vulnerable. Person who has family issue or is seeking family environment. This is especially important in cases where children or teenagers who have never had a home or live in a home with constant conflict and where they are treated with neglect. This could lead them to have poor academic successes and inadequate social skills, and often they become runaways. Desire to have a father and mother who does pay attention to them and show them affection put them at maximum risk. In a child seeking attention for a father or mother are at maximum risk. Pay attention to your child. The victim is a child living in poverty. One of the factors that traffickers always use in their favor is the monetary need of the victims. Children, adolescent, and adult women tend to succumb to the pimp's promise to provide economic stability, but the truth is that the victim of sex trafficking has no control over the profits of their work. For the person that has little or social or legal protection, traffickers often demonstrate a certain degree of power and some even beyond powerful gains. So they approach people who feel at risk of being deported or jailed to offer protection, false identities in exchange for sexual exploitation. Once the trafficker detects one or several of these vulnerability points in his objectives, he or she will seize any available opportunity to seek out the potential victim, including in-person tactics at malls, bus stops, walking to and from school, and outside group homes. The majority of traffickers now seek children or recruit children online through social networking sites and use the information obtained through these methods to relate, to build trust with the child more quickly, and proceed to convince the victim to leave with him or her. To summarize, for a person to be at risk of brainwashing, it is necessary that at least one of the following characteristics are met. The victim has low self esteem. The victim has been physically or sexually abused. The victim struggles with drug and alcohol dependency. The victim lives in poverty. The victim has little or no legal protection. Once the trafficker detects one or several of these vulnerabilities in his objective, he or she will seize any available opportunity to seek out the potential victim, including in person tactics at malls, bus stops, walking to and from school, and outside of group homes. Keep in mind this information as we continue to discuss those men and women arrested and convicted of sex trafficking. This insidious behavior must be stopped. We must all participate in the prevention of sex trafficking. This activity is destroying our nation. I met Dr. Latina Denson coming out of the building in Southfield. Something just told me to walk up to her and say hello. Actually, as I walked past her car as she was getting out of her car, a voice told me to ask her had she had a stroke. I ignored the voice and got inside my car. I said to myself, no, I don't want to embarrass myself before this woman. I am a perfect stranger. How can I walk up to this woman and ask her, did she have a stroke? I started my car. The voice persisted until I got back out of the car and walked up to Dr. Denson and asked her, had she had a stroke? She said yes, and we began to talk. I introduced myself to her. I was overwhelmed with her story because I knew immediately that she was a woman of courage and that I wanted to interview her. Dr. Denson had all the characteristics of a woman of courage. She was focused. She did not second guess herself. She did not spend time imagining what people thought of her. She believed in herself. She was not afraid of rejection, and she embraced life. Once I assessed her strength, I knew Dr. Denson had been sent to me. I told Dr. Denson that she had been sent to me. I told her of my mission. She and I laughed. Shortly before I met Dr. Denson, I had told a friend that I was going to hammer away at self esteem and self image on my radio program until I got people to see how important it is to build their child's life around positivity and self determination. I laughed. God has sent me a prototype. God has sent me a genuine fighter and I could hold up to the world and say, "See, this is what I'm talking about. I had just finished my research on Muhammad Ali, Colin Kaepernick, and Usain Bolt. I plan to discuss these three men on my show. These three men were willful and they were willing to step out for what they believed, which is similar to Dr. Denson. I think people need to know that obstacles in our path and situations in our lives can be overcome. If she can do it, you can do it. We need to hear stories about people overcoming tragedies in their lives. When Dr. Latina Denson told me she was running for city council of Southfield, I was elated. She was more than I could ask for. She had not given up. She was persisting. She believed in herself. Her life said, "There's nothing I can't do." Dr. Denson was making her life count. When Dr. Denson told me she was running for city council for Southfield, I told her that that was why the voice told me to ask her about her stroke, because she was a woman of courage. I told her that I would help her with her candidacy because I believe that is why God had me speak to her. She he was telling me to support her. She chatted quite a while, even though she was there for a meeting. I left telling myself that that woman likes to smile. Later that evening, I went on Yahoo and researched Dr. Denson. I learned she is committed to serving her community. She is a planning commissioner on senior adults. She is also an ambassador to the Heart and Stroke Association. She is a volunteer for the World Medical Relief Fund. World Medical Relief provides medical equipment and prescriptions to those in need both locally and abroad. They've done this since 1953. World Medical Relief is a nonprofit organization and they only do charitable work. By distributing medical supplies, they help the poor, the sick, and the elderly locally, nationally, and on an international basis. The organization helps the medically unserved both at home and abroad by collecting and distributing medicine, medical supplies, and related materials. I learned that Dr. Latina Denson was had over 20 years of planning and community development experience, particularly in the area of housing and neighborhood development. Dr. Denson obtained her doctorate of philosophy in urban affairs and public policy from the University of Delaware. She is a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners. She is committed to improving the neighborhood as housing and a planning professional. She is currently the president of Strategic Development Solutions, a consulting firm specializing in urban and regional statistic planning. She is the founder of Knowledge, a group aimed to reduce the incidence of stroke by increasing education and prevention efforts as well as promoting the successful rehabilitation lifestyle of stroke survivors. Dr. Denson had lots of well wishes on her Facebook page telling her that they welcome her candidacy and she would be a good addition to the Southfield City Council. Adam Seltzer said, "I'm excited to support your candidacy." George Calway said, "Latina, thanks for sharing your story. You are such a beautiful and incredible young lady. May God continue to shower you with his blessings." Another woman said, "Proud of you for sharing your story. Love and blessings always." Sherry Oliver said, "Thank you for sharing your story." Carolyn Jackson said, "You are a warrior, such an amazing shower of strength. God bless you." David Howard said, "You have always been a leader and an incredible person. Great work." Meg Jacobs said, "Great job." And Harry said, "So strong, so compelling, asking for nothing, giving much." Another woman said, "This is Latina Denson, my friend from when my kids were babies. I met Latina through a wonderful mutual friend, Melanie McCullough. Latina was a very fit, healthy, active, energetic person at age 38 when she suffered a stroke. Please listen to her story and learn from it. I'm so proud of Latina. So glad to hear your story told and by you. Keep pushing through it all. From the commits on Dr. Denson's page, you can tell she touched lots of lives. Anyway, I would like for you to hear from Dr. Denson in her own words discussing her experience in a video after having a stroke in 2009. She believes it is important that people share their stories. Currently, she, along with the Southfield Multimedia Cable 15, hosts a show called Unlimited Share Your Story. They highlight mental, physical, and health challenges. To share your story, email Dr. Denson at unlimitedstoriessouthfield at gmail.com.
I woke up with a strange headache. And I really don't have headaches, but if I have headaches, it was just a regular headache. But it was something about that headache. I'm like, I'm still, something's wrong, but maybe I'll just take some aspirin and. So I did, and I wanted to go just to sleep. I tried to get up, but I couldn't. My mother came and she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I cannot move my arm." We went to the hospital. They wheeled me to a room, and I don't remember anything else. I had to have brain surgery. So the doctor, he said that I had a bus, not a clot, but a bus. And he had to induce a coma. As a result of my stroke, I could not walk, I could not talk, I couldn't even recognize words. Now I can walk with a cane. I have aphasia and apraxia. Both are speech impairments. I could not recognize words. Now I can and stuff like that. Apraxia is based on my muscles in my mouth. And so sometimes I cannot, I am challenged to speak, but I'm trying. And then I have limited use of my arm. In terms of life after stroke, I was hopeful as in terms of, I was like, okay, it's a temporary thing in terms of my mobility. But, I am a go-getter. So I'm like, okay. It was a sunny day, and I was like, God, let me call somebody so that I can get out of the house. I called everybody, and nobody was home. was like, now come on. So that's why I was like, I have to go. I mean, I have to get out of the house. Um, and that was the moment that I was like, okay, I have to do what I have to do because nobody else is gonna do it. Even though I have a wonderful family and a wonderful uh, support system of friends, they were not available. My name is Latina Denson. I had a stroke. I share my story. Why don't you share yours?
After listening to Latina Denson's testimony, you can see why people are making the comments of support because a Latina has not given up on public service. I thank you for listening to the Women of Courage show, and God bless. And keep listening to us throughout the week. Thank you for listening to Women of Courage, and have a great day.